Thank you. Well, with the shuttle program ending, there is fear that many companies may be leaving North Alabama. Some jobs already have been cut. A lot of uncertain times for many people in North Alabama. Joining us now is Mayor Tommy Battle. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I know there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that the public, the working public that busy with everyday lives don't know. So bring us up to date on what's going on.
You know, we've got a strong economic base. The NASA has been what we would call a challenge out there. Is one of those things that we have to work on a daily basis. But you know, it's really no different than what we've worked with for the last 50 years. If you remember, in 1992, the space station came within 2 votes of being cut. So we work on a daily basis with our congressional delegation. We work with the NASA administration and just make sure that we are moving forward with SLS, which is the heavy lift proponent of NASA. Robert Lightfoot, who is the Marshall Space Flight Director, came out last 3 weeks ago and started talking about NERPS, which is the National Institute of Rocket Propulsion Systems, which is a great idea of setting up Huntsville as a center of excellence and a center of knowledge, I guess you would say, on rocket propulsion. And that works for both NASA with you know, when we start putting the heavy lift on the Orion capsule and putting it up into space, but it also works with missile defense and SMDC and Space and Missile Defense and PEO aviations and some of the Army aviation aspects of it. So you know, we have a pretty strong job base here. We've got to work through some of the obvious congressional problems right now, and mainly administration problems with the funding side of it.
And just in the last, I guess, few months after finding out the shuttle program is ending, some companies sent you all letters saying, you know, we are making cuts. But this not only affects Huntsville, this affects the entire North Alabama region.
You know, we were talking to Senator Bill Nelson. The Florida coast got 7,000. Has 7,000 people being cut. We've gotten warn notices on 590 people. And a lot of times what happens with those companies is they'll send you a warn notice of 250, then they'll shift people around during the time between when they send out the warn notice and when it actually takes effect, which is usually, you know, 3 or 4 months. They'll shift people around in programs and end up maybe with 15 people that they have to cut out of it. We've seen that with NASA. You know, NASA came down with AMCOM came down with some cuts, and they actually went from 282 down to, I think, 14 actual cuts. So it works. We have some very good contractors who feel loyal to their employees and try to make sure that we find jobs for those who are being moved from one mission to another.
As far as keeping jobs here, I know
Sure.
you're a big proponent of the city. What are some things behind the scenes that are going on to try to help keep jobs here?
We have several efforts. You know, we work, number one, with the Arsenal. We have 47 tenants out on the Arsenal. Everything from AMCOM, Army Aviation, to Army Material Command, to Missile Defense Agency, to Space and Missile Defense Agency, all the way across the board. 47 tenants out there, and each of those seems to be having be doing pretty well in this budgetary environment. So we're working with those who administer a lot of contracts that not only affect Huntsville or North Alabama, but they also administer contracts that are where the money is spent in other areas, you know, in the West Coast, East Coast, and we're working with them trying to make sure that as much money as can stays here, because the money that stays here means workers here and jobs here. And we work on the premise, so, you know, number one, it's cheaper to work here. We have a 20% differential in cost of living between us and the East-West Coast. It's also, you know, our quality of life's a little bit better when we have a 17-minute commute every day. But when you start really talking about it, you know, we try to make sure that some of the jobs administered here, that a good portion of them end up staying here in Huntsville.
And Mayor, you are currently working on creating new job growth in the city of Huntsville. What are some of those opportunities? A lot of people out there maybe watching right now looking for a job and just not having a lot of luck.
You know, there's a lot of fields beyond what we have at the Arsenal right now. There's a lot of fields that are expanding right now. We've been working with a cyber initiative, and cyber initiative just means that you want security on your computers. That computers talking to computers, telecommunications, all that field is a huge field that's open not only in the Department of Defense world, but in the energy world, you know, in the banking world. So across the world there is a big big development of that industry. Dynetics right now is putting together a 288,000 square foot addition on their buildings, and a lot of it's going to go towards the cyber effort, energy effort. We have 25 companies in Huntsville that are already working on an energy effort. Everything from cogeneration with nuclear power and how to process nuclear waste to how to conserve on your power by cutting off your hot water heater. You know, it's amazing across the board at what the talent level is that we have in this town. And it's because we have more engineers, degree professionals than anywhere else in the U.S. per capita. You know, you have that kind of talent sitting here. Toyota just added the 4-cylinder engine line, and that we're the only plant in the world that has 4, 6, and 8-cylinder Toyota engines being produced there. You go around and look at Hudson Alpha right now. Hudson Alpha has 17 companies working out there, working in the biotech fields. Plus they have about 100,000 square feet of nonprofit research that's being done out of there, and that research spins off other companies all the time. They've just broken ground on another 88,000 square foot building where they're going to have more private industry working. You know, if you look across the board at what's going on in the Huntsville area, this doesn't just affect Huntsville. It affects Madison County, city of Madison, a 13-county area across all North Alabama and into South Tennessee. So we're able, through some of the efforts here, to provide jobs for all North Alabama.
And for the many people driving through Gate 9, Redstone Arsenal, the Redstone Gateway complex is going up really fast, and that's been said.
Redstone Gateway is ultimately going to be 4 million square feet of office space, and that office space is kind of incubator space that is ready for the expansion of Redstone Arsenal. When Contracting Command moved here, which was a little bit beyond what BRAC was, came after BRAC, was 300 people moved here with jobs, and you start thinking of 300 people being paid $80,000 a job, it's a $24 million impact on this community year in, year out. People spending $24 million, whether on houses, on retail, providing sales tax. So those jobs are very, very important to us, and it's very important that as we have expansion of our industries, that those jobs locate in the North Alabama area so that we get the economic, I guess the economic benefit of that.
Anything in the works? I know there's probably a lot of stuff going on right now that we do not know about. Any other exciting things?
Oh, what's amazing right now is we're having a lot of activity economic development wise. A lot of people who are looking at Huntsville just because of the synergy that is here, not only with DOD, but they're looking because of what we've done with biotech at Hudson Alpha. They're looking at what we've done in the cyber field. We have over 40 companies who are already working in the cyber field, and others looking at coming into this area. So across the board, we're seeing a lot of activity, and we're also seeing retail activity come in. Some retailers that you see very commonly on the East Coast are starting to look down at the Huntsville market because we have the spendable income here, and that's exciting also.
Well, seeing just Bridge Street in the 3 years I've been here, the 3 years, 3.5, 4 years this has been here, the stores that have popped up here, it's been interesting to see.
It really is, and it's a good, it adds to your quality of life. Your quality of life is beyond hiking trails, biking trails, parks, botanical gardens and things like that, but also you want places to go that you can buy the things that you would like to have. You work for one reason, so you can buy what you want to have. So it's nice having that variety sitting out there, and that's also something that we sell to other communities as we try to get them to come to Huntsville.
Everything that we've been talking about affects the budget for next year, and that's going to be unveiled in about a week.
Yes.
Are you optimistic about it? Grim?
It's a good budget, and it's got to be managed. It's just like your home budget. You don't have a lot of growth in it. You've got a little bit. We've got $228 million budget. This year we had, in 2009, we had a $229 million budget. So we're having to manage a little bit less money, but we've got more money than we had last year. So this is kind of a back to basics year. For 3 years we haven't bought fleet. For 3 years we've held off on employees. For 3 years we've cut things. We cut ditch maintenance and everything. So we're able to bring some of that back right now. We're buying boom trucks, and you say, wow, wow, why would you buy boom trucks? Well, we have 54 boom trucks that go out and pick up limbs and debris on the side of the road. This past week, 19 of them were down just because we've used them so much. Yeah, worn them out. Boom trucks, garbage trucks, police cars, fire trucks, those kind of things that have to be in the budget. That's part of your infrastructure. So we're going to do that, get back to some basics, put a little bit more money into road repaving this year. It's some of the things that, you know, we've held off for a year or two, and we just really got to get back to basics. It's kind of a basics budget this year.
As far as any job cuts in the city, are we going to see any layoffs?
We have worked very hard, A, to keep our AAA rating, but B, to make sure that we don't have to have job layoffs in the city. Well, that's why we put in the hiring freeze. We have less people working for the city today than we had 3 years ago, and that's that's because people have doubled up. We've gotten more efficient. We've found that we can do things with more with less. But that's just part of today's economy. That's the new normal that you find out there right now. So we've got a pretty solid budget. Everybody's going to be employed, but it does go back to basics. It takes care of garbage, trash pickup, police cars, fire trucks, ditch maintenance, things that you don't get a lot of plaques for, but things that are very, very important to the life of a city.
Good. Well, and you came on board right when the economy, you had a tough go of it.
Our first year was the first year that this city has experienced less money to spend this year than we had last year. And the first, 2009 budget was a tough budget. We have taken that budget and gotten to a balanced budget now. We've got a AAA rating, which we are very proud of, and so we've been able to manage it as we've come along. But it has taken some management, and it's been a tough one to manage.